I said this before, and I don't get tired saying this because it's a very important thing for us to grasp. I said in a conference, I want to say to you as a congregation again this morning. Because everywhere in the church, when churches want to come alive in the things of God, they often ask a question, whether it is verbally articulated or in spirit, is a question that motivates the church. And the question is, are you ready? That question can come in many forms, but the basic idea is, are you ready for spiritual battle? Are you ready for ministry? Are you ready for the year of empowerment? Are you ready to be mobilized? Are you ready to do the things of God or the work of God? Are you ready? And then we ask our young people the same question. Young people, are you ready? Are you ready to live your life for Jesus? Are you ready? Now, that's a very important question, but I want to suggest that we have missed something more important here. Because while the question is important, it is not a foundational question. There is another question that is more important to ask because it's foundational. The question is not, are you ready? The question rather is, are you rooted? Are you rooted in the Word of God? Young people need to be asked that. Young people need to be taught that. The church need to be asked that. The church need to be taught that. Are you rooted in the Word of God? Are you rooted in the deep things of God? Are you rooted in sound doctrine? Why? Because if you are not rooted, you will never be ready. The readiness you have without rootedness will only be superficial. There is no sustainability. It will be zeal without knowledge because the foundation is missing. Discipleship is about radically returning to the foundation of following Jesus and in abiding in Him to advance His kingdom. The call of discipleship is not advance His kingdom. The first call of discipleship is to abide in Jesus that His kingdom may be advanced. This abiding in Jesus is that radical rootedness that is needed in discipleship today. In order for us to know that our dream is from God, we need to walk that pilgrimage of rootedness in His Word. We need to come to a place where we lay hold of the foundation of the Word of God in our lives. You see, my friends, there are two ways to do the work of God. There's the way of the world and the way of the Word. The way of the world is the fleshly way of getting things done. We think if I can push the right buttons, if I can leverage the right agenda and see it through, I'm able to get what I want. The dream will be fulfilled. But there are many people who discover this is not so. In my mentoring of businessmen, some of them are award-winning, recognized, successful businessmen. Everyone, without exception, they've gone through hard times when they realize they don't have the resources to do what it takes. Because no matter what they know about business leadership and the resources, capital, connections they have, after a while they recognize there's no button to push. We got to depend upon God. There's the way of the world and there's the way of the Word. The way of the promises of God, the assurance of God, the confidence that God comes through. Therefore, we need to learn in discipleship to anchor in God. When I transited in leadership as the senior pastor, there will be the last things a senior pastor needs to do before he hand over. Like there's the last staff meeting, a last board meeting, a last sermon and worship service. There's the last dinner, the last farewell. And among the last things that I do, there was one last thing that is very, very important to me. And that last thing was I took the two new senior pastors. Our church have two locations, two buildings. And so we have two lead pastors in charge. I took the two new senior pastors up in the mountain, Masilau, Kota Kinabalu. And we spent 4 days, 3 nights together seeking the Lord. In the morning, we have breakfast together. I'll share with them the word and then give some spiritual directions. And for the whole day, from after breakfast all the way to dinner time, each of us, the three of us, are alone in the mountain in solitude, seeking God. We come back at dinner time to share what the Lord has spoken to us, what He has spoken to us through His Word and the promises that He has granted to us and the principles He has laid before us. And then we go to sleep early. The next morning we wake up, do our quiet time, have breakfast together, and we continue that routine of seeking God. Why? Why do I consider that as the most important last thing, more important than even the last staff meeting, last board meeting? The answer is simple. I want to help the new senior pastors to realize that life in ministry is complex. It's not always easy. And there are times we don't have the answers. We need to learn to seek God.